Welcome or welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Maria Andrea, and this is day 12 of the 12 Days of Christmas and the 12 Tags of Christmas series. Today I am doing the Counting the Days tag because I've been counting the days and I want to talk about books that are still on my TBR that I am still really excited to read, hopefully this year, but we will see. This tag, Counting the Days tag, was created by Ruben and Emmelie, and I will link their channels in the description box. I was tagged by Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club. These are the prompts. Prompt number 1. What is a book that excites you because of its cover? The first book I was going to reach for is behind me, and it's in stack, and I was like, no, I'm not ready to deal with that just yet. So, the closest book to me that I was struck by the cover that I really, really want to read, and I actually bought this book, this edition of this book because of the cover. I was on the market for this book, particularly when I bought it, but I chose this cover of all the covers. This is Emily of New Moon by L.M. Montgomery. I have yet to read Emily of New Moon. I've only read The Blue Castle and Anne of Green Gables and the Rilla, the last book in the Anne of Green Gables series, Rilla's story. I don't remember what the Rilla of Ingleside. But I haven't read Emily yet, so I love this cover. I think it is a beautiful cover with lots of blue tones in it, and a sweet girl walking through a valley of nature. In case you've not heard of Emily of New Moon, the back of the cover says 10-year-old Emily Starr never knew what it was to be lonely until her beloved father died. Now Emily's an orphan, and her snobbish relatives are taking her to live with them at New Moon Farm. She feels like a very small child left all alone in a big and empty world, but she vows to hold her head up high and make the best of her new situation. Things slowly begin to change for the better when Emily makes some new friends, including the future artist Teddy Kent, Perry Miller from humble Stovepipe Town, and above all, Ilse Burnley, a tomboy with a blazing temper. Together, these three friends give budding author Emily the incentive to write and the material to write about, and soon, with the gruff but honest encouragement of her teacher, Mr. Carpenter, and the secret supply of writing notebooks from her cousin Jimmy, she finds herself well on the way to a life of literary creation. This cover illustration is by Ellie McKay. The cover design is by Kelly Hill. And this is published by Tundra, imprint Tundra, at Penguin Random House. I love this cover. Okay, next. A book that excites you because of its author. So a book that I'm looking forward to reading hopefully this year because of the author is one of my all-time favorite authors, Shirley Jackson, and The Haunting of Hill House. By Shirley Jackson, I've only read some of her short fiction. I've read We Have Always Lived in the Castle, but I haven't yet, and the Lottery's short fiction. But I have not read The Haunting of Hill House. So I'm looking forward to it. And this is also a beautiful package, the beautiful cover, the back. This is gorgeous art, and then it's got the deckled edges. I don't know if you can tell, but they're deckled, and I love it. And it's got the French flap. In case you want a summary of The Haunting of Hill House, it says, 4 seekers have arrived at the rambling old pile known as Hill House. Dr. Montague, an occult scholar looking for solid evidence of psychic phenomena, Theodora, his lovely and light-hearted assistant, Luke, the adventurous future inheritor of the estate, and Eleanor, a friendless, fragile woman. young woman with a dark past. As they begin to cope with chilling, even horrifying occurrences beyond their control or understanding, they cannot possibly know what lies ahead, for Hill House is gathering its powers, and soon it will choose one of them to make its own. Originally published in 1959, The Haunting of Hill House remains widely regarded as the greatest haunted house story ever written. This is a quote by the Wall Street Journal. This Penguin Classics Deluxe edition of Shirley Jackson's Gothic masterpiece, with original cover art by Aaron Weisenfeld and an introduction by Laura Miller, commemorates the centennial of Jackson's birth and the abiding terror of her greatest creation. I really do love Shirley Jackson, so hopefully this book will be read this year. And so far, these two I would consider a classic, but Emily of New Moon by Ellen Montgomery and The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Next is a book that excites you because of its premise. So I met up with a friend this weekend, and we visited a local indie bookstore. A friend came down to visit from Houston to the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas, and we went to a local indie, and I did some book shopping with her. She picked out some books that she thought I would enjoy and think that I sounded good to her, and so she gave me some recs, and I bought these books just because my friend thought that I would like them, and I was excited to add just a handful of books to my TBR. So one of the books that I purchased, I'm really, really excited about. This one right here. Son of Blood and Ruin by Mariely Lares. This one also has a gorgeous cover. I almost picked this one as a cover too. And when she handed this book to me, I was excited because it's like, oh, it has a map. I love a map in a book. And this map is of Mexico City. So this is what the publisher summary says. Rumor has it on the streets of 16th century New Spain, there's a new vigilante in town serving justice. This reimagining of Zorro, featuring a heroic warrior sorceress, weaves Mesoamerican mythology and Mexican history 2 decades after the Spanish conquest into a swashbuckling historical fantasy with fantasy debut with magic, intrigue, treachery, and romance. So all of those things are up my alley. A reimagining of Zorro, a historical fantasy with weaving Mesoamerican mythology. I love a mythology retelling, and Mexican history 2 decades after the Spanish conquest. And it's fantasy, it's a debut novel, it's got magic and romance. So the story says, a new legend begins. In 16th century New Spain, witchcraft is punishable by death. Indigenous temples have been destroyed, and tales of mythical creatures that once roamed the land have become whispers in the night. Hidden behind a mask, Pantera uses her magic and legendary swordplay skills to fight the tyranny of Spanish rule. To all who knew her, Leonora de las Casas de la Tlazotzin never leaves the palace and is promised to the heir of the Spanish throne. The respectable, law-abiding Lady Leonora faints at the sight of blood and would rather be caught dead than meddle in court affairs. No one suspects that Leonora and Pantera are the same person. Leonora's charade is tragically good, and with magic running through her veins, she is nearly invincible. Nearly, despite her mastery, she is destined to die young in battle as predicted by a seer. When an ancient prophecy of destruction threatens to come true, Leonora and therefore Pantera is forced to decide, surrender the mask or fight to the end. Knowing she is doomed to a short life, she is tempted to take the former option. But the legendary Pantera is destined for more than an early grave, and once she discovers the truth of her origins, not even death will stop her. And a bit about the author. Mariely Lares is a Mexican-American novelist born in the only hospital of a small town in Southern California, which, fun fact, is also Cher's birthplace. She grew up straddling two worlds, crossing the border from her hometown to Mexico almost every day. The daughter of Mexican immigrants, she holds a degree in computer science engineering and lives in San Diego, where she can be found doing all the outdoorsy things, rescuing dogs and writing her next book. Yay, Mariely! Yay! I am here for you. I am here for this. I'm excited about this debut. I cannot wait to read it, and hopefully I will have found a new author to be excited about. So I'm really looking forward to it. Next is what is a book that excites you because of its style? So this one is one that has been on my bookshelves for a few years now. This is Ghost Forest by Pik-Shuen Fung. I first heard of this book in the Reading Women podcast, through the Reading Women podcast. And my understanding is that this is a story that's told in vignettes, and I love that style of writing in vignettes. I love the cover art as well. Like all of these books so far have had amazing covers that I've loved. Let me see if I can find who to credit for the cover. Book design by Simon M. Sullivan. This is printed in Canada by One World. So the inside flap says, this graceful and indelible debut about another debut. Yay, I love a debut. About love, grief, and family welcomes you into its pages and invites you to linger, staying with you long after you've closed its covers. How do you grieve if your family doesn't talk about feelings? This is a question the unnamed protagonist of Ghost Forest considers after her father dies. One of many Hong Kong astronaut fathers, he stays behind to work while the rest of the family immigrates to Canada ahead of the 1997 handover, when the British returned sovereignty over Hong Kong to China. As she revisits memories of her father through the years, she struggles with unresolved questions and misunderstandings. Turning to her mother and grandmother for answers, she discovers her own life refracted brightly in theirs. Buoyant, heartbreaking, and unexpectedly funny, Ghost Forest is a slim novel that envelops the reader in joy and sorrow. Fung writes with a poetic and haunting voice, layering detail and abstraction, weaving memory and oral history to paint a moving portrait of Chinese-Canadian astronaut family. So this is Ghost Forest by Pik-Shuen Fung. Next is a book that excites you because of its influence. And for this one, I picked another debut by an author that I think has a lot of influence, and this is White Teeth by Zadie Smith. So a little bit about the back. From the back cover, it says, the San Francisco Chronicle says, White Teeth just may be the first great novel of the new century. Zadie Smith has won this book has won the New York Times Book Review Editor's Choice Award, National Book Critics Circle Award finalist, winner of the Guardian First Book Award, and the winner of the Whitbread First Novel Award. One of the most talked about fictional debuts of recent years, White Teeth is a funny, generous, big-hearted novel adored by critics and readers alike, dealing with, among many other things, friendship, love, war, 3 cultures and 3 families over 3 generations, and the tricky way the past has of coming back and biting you on the ankle. It is a life-affirming, riotous must-read of a book. So, White Teeth by Zadie Smith. Have you read White Teeth? I've read other works by Zadie, but I have not yet read this one, and I'm looking forward to it. Let me know if you've loved it, what your thoughts were in the comments. Do you think I will love it? Next prompt is, what is a book that excites you because of its emotional weight? I think I'm on a roll here with grief books about grief and mourning. So the one that I picked for this prompt is The Way Through the Woods by Long Lit Woon on mushrooms and mourning. Another really gorgeous cover. This is a hardback with a printed cover. And the back of this one says, a grieving widow discovers a most unexpected form of healing hunting for mushrooms. Long Lit Woon met Elof a month after arriving in Norway from Malaysia as an exchange student. They fell in love, married, and settled into domestic bliss. Then Eolf's unexpected death at 54 left Woon struggling to imagine a life without the man who had been her partner and anchor for 32 years. Adrift in grief, she signed up for a beginner's course on mushrooming, a course the two of them had planned to take together, and found to her surprise that the pursuit of mushrooms rekindled her zest for life. The Way Through the Woods tells the story of parallel journeys, an inner one through the landscape of mourning, and an outer one into the fascinating realm of mushrooms, resilient, adaptable, and essential to nature's cycle of death and rebirth, from idyllic Norwegian forests to urban flower beds to the sandy beaches of Corsica and New York's Central Park. Woon uncovers an abundance of surprises often hidden in plain sight. Salmon pink bloody milk caps which ooze red liquid when cut. Delectable morels prized for their earthy yet delicate flavor, and bioluminescent mushrooms that light up the forest at night. I've seen pictures of those bioluminescent mushrooms. That would be so cool to see. Along the way, she discovers the warm fellowship of other mushroom obsessives and finds that giving her full attention to the natural world transforms her, opening a way for her to survive Eol's death, to see herself anew, and to re-engage with life. Translation by Barbara J. Haviland. Publishers Random House Books. So yeah, I got this a few years ago. It's also been on my shelves. I think I almost purchased this one and Ghost Forest at around the same time, maybe even the same year. And I think these two have that grief in common. This prompt is a book. What is a book that excites you because of its sense of humor? So another book that I've had on my shelves for a while, it is a rom-com, and it is Just Last Night by Mariely Lares. Two best friends, one mischance, a night that changes everything. Internationally best-selling author Mariely Lares explores lifelong friendships, long-buried secrets, and unexpected love in a heartfelt, emotional new novel. A bit about this book. Eve, Justin, Susie, and Ed have been friends since they were teenagers. Now, in their 30s, the four are as close as ever. Thursday night bar trivia is sacred, and Eve is still secretly in love with Ed. Maybe she should have moved on by now, but she can't stop thinking about what could have been. And she knows Ed still thinks about it too. This is a romance. I'm not going to read anymore because I really kind of just want to go in it with knowing as little bit as possible. But I expect this to be funny and romantic and just a lot of fun to read. This will be my first Mariely Lares, so I'm really hoping that she's an author that I enjoy. Finally, the last prompt is, what is a book that excites you because of its challenge or difficulty? Okay, I am very intimidated by this author, and it is Helen Oyeyemi. This is White is for Witching. I have a couple of Helen Oyeyemi's on my bookshelves. I just pulled this one because it was the one that I've been really, really wanting to read, like, soon. every fall I put this on my TBR since I've owned it and I haven't gotten to it. Helen Oyeyemi strikes me as a very smart author, and I am intimidated by her, by what I've heard about her writing style. So this book in particular won the winner of is the winner of the Somerset Maugham Award. Maugham. The back of this book says, "There's something strange about the Silver family's house in the close-off town of Dover, England. Grand and cavernous, with hidden passages and buried secrets, it's been home to 4 generations of Silver women: Anna, Jennifer, Lily, and now Miranda, who has lived in the house with her twin brother Elliot. Ever since their father converted it to a bed and breakfast, the Silver women have always had a strong connection, a pull over one another that reaches across time and space. And when Lily, Miranda's mother, passes away suddenly while on a trip abroad, Miranda begins suffering strange ailments. An eating disorder starves her. She begins hearing voices. When she brings a friend home, Dover's hostility toward outsiders physically manifests within the 4 walls of the Silver house, and the lives of everyone inside are irrevocably changed. At once an unforgettable mystery and a meditation on race, nationality, and family legacies. White is for Witching is a boldly original, terrifying, and elegant novel by a prodigious talent." The Austin Chronicle says, "If you've been missing Shirley Jackson all these many years, here's a writer who seems to be a direct heir to that lamented once Gothic throne." Helen Oyeyemi is the author of 5 novels, including Boys No Bird and Mr. Fox, which won a 2012 Hurston Wright Legacy Award. In 2013, she was named one of Granta's best young British novelists. So Helen Oyeyemi is one that I've been wanting to read for the longest time, but I've always felt intimidated. Hopefully this will be the year, is what I say every year about these books since I've gotten them. And so that is it. Those are all the prompts. So this is just a little bit of an insight into the books that I'm really, really excited about to try to get to the books that I currently own. The only one that was a recent purchase was that one, Son of Blood and Ruin, the romantic one. But all the other ones are books I've owned for years, and they've been on my shelves, and so they are part of the read what you own kind of intentions that I will carry into 2025. So what books are you excited to read? If you like this tag, consider yourself tagged. It's a great tag to start the new year with, because you're counting down the days as the new year is starting, and these are maybe like a soft TBR, not any kind of like for sure TBR, but these are all books that I'm excited about and I hope to read this year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to be able to come back to do an update sometime this week, and we will talk again soon. Hasta la próxima.